everybody. It's those wrestling girls. We're back and we're being consistent.
Yes, I love it.
It's your girl, Krista B.
And Queen PR.
And we have a huge topic that we need to talk about today because it's something that everybody is witnessing in the wrestling community, especially when it comes to social media. So today we'll be talking about toxic Twitter wrestling and the fan community and how it affects us all. Yeah. So, P, want to take it away?
It's interesting that you said like how it affects everyone in the wrestling community because I think social media has affected the products, the superstars, the storylines, the everything. Like just being a fan on just being a part of wrestling on social media has its pros and its cons. But we are going to talk about its cons because it's a topic that's been coming up a lot. We were on Duke Loves Wrestling show and he and I talked about it and how I believe that it's ruining being a wrestling fan these days. And I can only imagine just like the narrative about Sasha Banks and how things just get construed and then you have your dirt sheets that now have the platform of social media and just how that just kind of turns things off, like, being a fan. Like, do you remember when we were like kids and it was just so lighthearted?
It was more entertaining because we didn't have the social media aspect of it. Like we thought that the feuds were real and we didn't have a Twitter troll telling us, oh, well, this was botched and that was botched. Like you actually had to wait for it to come out in the newspaper or a review on TV the next day. Like it was never instant at your fingertips. So I do remember that. I feel like that was like the best time to watch wrestling and be a wrestling fan because social media is never really involved. And it's like, you don't want to include social media when we watching Monday Night Raw or SmackDown or whatever, but we live tweet. So it's like we have to. So we have to encounter those trolls that just come about and want to sit here and poke at us and poke at us and poke at us until I say something. Because P, she's more of the passive until you like press her buttons. Me, I'm just like, listen, this is how I feel. This is how we feel. If you don't like it, you can deuce.
Yeah. And it's funny because we were just talking about our wonderful social media following and how our engagement has been going up. But with that also comes a whole, what you said, it opens Pandora's box.
Yes.
Because social media has really given a platform to like a lot of like weird people. And I don't want to say weird. I want to say negative people, which we call trolls.
Toxic people.
Yes. That kind of, we've even had people initiate arguments with us about things because we focus on women's wrestling like out of nowhere, and it's like, I didn't even know you were following us and now you're trolling us. That's the other weird thing is like people that troll us like follow us. Like, why is that?
Because they want to get their little 5 minutes or 5 seconds of fame until they politely or impolitely get shut down by me.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. Like, I don't sit here and take like we started this and we was gonna come encounter with a lot of negative people and a lot of toxic people. But when you go overboard and it's just like too much to sit here and to take, you have to respond. And you already know me, like I'm the feistier one out of the two. So once you be like, yo, go check this on thing, and I'll say something and you'll quick like, no, don't respond that. Okay, I'm just gonna delete the tweet. No, leave it there because we have to have our voices heard. Like we got to put our foot down. This is what it is. This is what it's not. And if you cannot respect that, you can not be on our platform.
Yeah,
that's it.
Definitely. And I want to go back to just how social media kind of permeated into wrestling. I think we have to mention kayfabe. And how that was always so protected to the death. I'm reading something now about Kevin Sullivan and how like just how serious it was. But with social media, you see the personal lives of the wrestlers and you see the other side of the business that we've never gotten to see before. Like, back then we didn't know Stone Cold was in the middle of contract negotiations and, and the Attitude Era. Like we could care less about that kind of stuff. But now with social media, taking things and running with it. How do you think social media has destroyed kayfabe? Do you think kayfabe is still something that we should even care about? I've never asked what your thoughts on that are.
I feel like once kayfabe is broken, it's like a promise. You can never get it again. and WWE when Hall and Nash was going to WCW, and you know Triple H and Shawn Michaels, they all had that big hug in the ring, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, broke kayfabe," and you know people
Jim Cornette is still very passionately upset about that,
and he could go sit down in a corner. But at that time, it was easy to recover because we didn't have social media. I personally feel like if you are Becky Lynch the man on Twitter, then you should be Becky Lynch the man on Twitter and be Rebecca Quinn. You know, have your own personal. And I know it's hard to separate the two because people know you as Becky Lynch. They don't know Rebecca Quinn, or they know you as Roman Reigns. They don't know Joe. You know, it's I know it's hard to differentiate, but it would make it for better to have people guessing like, okay, what's going to happen now?
Yeah,
because
totally.
Just this past Monday when Brock Lesnar attacked Seth, and like I was telling you on the phone, like I was watching it. It was delayed on my phone, so I'm seeing how you're tweeting, yeah, Becky, stand by your man, and da da da. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? It was good for me to see that because a part of me was just like, okay, the two characters are dating, so she's going with the character Seth Rollins and not with her boyfriend Seth Rollins. You understand?
So you're able to kind of like separate it.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Like I forget that. First of all, I was taken aback that actually they showed Becky by her by his side.
It?
Yeah. Like we know they admitted it off of social media, which is like one of my favorite pictures of all time.
I know, it's so cute.
But it was just like, oh wait, this is real. Like he's really hurt. Like. She's really going with him in the ambulance because she was standing there at one point like, I'm going to go find, like she had that, I'm going to go find Paul Heyman, Brock Lesnar.
Or is it real?
Nah, that's real. I believe that that's real. Just like remember with Stephanie and Triple H. Remember they first started, it was all for the show, and then they couldn't be with each other no more, so she had went to SmackDown. But they didn't tell them when she went to SmackDown, but come to find out is because Vince didn't want her Triple H together no more. And then when the feud with Randy Orton started and Triple H had to admit Stephanie is really my wife in real life, we are really married.
I love how you always throw it back.
Because it's a revolving door of storylines.
It really is.
Like that's just what it is. So sometimes you forget. And now that they played their marriage into their storylines, it's just like, oh God, now we have to sit here and deal with them married on TV and then married on like off of TV, but on social media. And it's like, separate the two, like keep the two, private, but it's only but so much you can keep private on social media.
That's true. And see, I kind of disagree when it comes to like, I do agree with you where it's like, I can go either or with it because during the build up to, let's say like Survivor Series, if I saw a picture of Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey like having coffee together, that would be like a boner killer. You know what I mean? So I feel like there's like limits to that. Like you notice like Charlotte and Becky stop posting it because clearly they're still best friends, but they stop posting each other on social media. I feel like certain feuds are so hot
that you
kind of do want to protect it just like a little bit. Like I love that Becky Lynch is the man in press interviews. She's as cocky as ever. So I think it's like a balance. But again, with social media, the superstars are human, so they express themselves on social media just like humans do. Like if I have imagine how long Becky and Seth probably wanted to post on social media that they were together, but they didn't for whatever reason. Because I'm pretty sure they got to get like the clearing, especially because they're at such a level. I feel like they might have to be like, can we put that out there? I don't know.
I don't think that they're going to need clearance to post their relationship on social media. That's their social
But remember, Rusev and Lana got in trouble for that.
No, Rusev and Lana,
you know what I mean?
got in trouble for what they posted on social media. Rusev and Lana was
exposing their relationship,
but was also exposing more than what they were supposed to. You understand?
And that's my point, is that someone is monitoring what they're putting online.
You're right, but I don't think but we got to also remember, Rusev and Lana were together for a really long time before WWE. They already were in a relationship. Like they were already on that road to being married and things like that. So you damn sure couldn't tell them, no, you can't post your relationship. That's just your Who the hell are
But
you?
they were in the middle of a love triangle storyline.
Yeah, they were, but everybody kind of saw through that, and that's where kayfabe kind of like, okay, we already know they're together in real life.
That's like the
that's where
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought up Becky Lynch on Twitter because we're gonna be talking about wrestling on Twitter and broadly, but recently we did a poll on our Twitter on who was the undisputed Twitter champ, and between Big E and Becky Lynch. So Becky Lynch has been killing it on Twitter since she got
the man.
Yeah, like
that man ego perception
and her sense of humor, and I think like her just being like a smart ass and shit, and like punny and like I wonder if because she's really good at it to the point where like Rhonda even started catching feelings.
Yeah. Ronnie.
Yeah. Oh God, Ronnie. And then Big E, ever since he was injured, he was bored, so he's been on Twitter just.
But Becky kind of started that when she posted her mom, and then Big E was just like, oh, yeah. So they do it in a friendly way.
Yeah.
Like when Becky was trolling Rhonda, I was just like, wow, like Rhonda's really getting angry. Like you can tell she really didn't know that side of WWE social media,
or even just the fan base.
Yeah, she was like really in her feelings about it.
Really was. She really was.
But for me, I voted Becky. Becky still, like, when they were just for Super Showdown, the women were not allowed to be there, and which we'll talk about because there's a lot of negativity from Twitter on that as well. And Becky was doing a live on WWE's platform on Facebook and Instagram, I believe. And she had tweeted, well, after everything I've done, I think talking about my love life is that the least of my list.
Absolutely.
Which I agree. Like, she should not talk about her love life.
I agree.
Because it's still going to put shine on Seth Rollins. And that's not what she's there for. But then she started going at it with Edge and Beth Phoenix again.
Oh, that was good.
So now it's just like, okay, where is this build-up going to go? Is WWE actually going to follow it? We know that Edge cannot perform in the ring anymore.
Yeah, but Beth can.
But Beth can.
But
then it's just like, okay, are we going to... Remember when Beth was like, are we including our men?
Yep.
So now it's like, okay, so what is Seth and Edge gonna do? Because remember, Edge and Seth had a encounter already in the ring when he made John Cena bring back the Authority. So he could be on some, okay, I can't fight, but I got this person and bring on whomever he brings. You understand?
That actually could be really, really good.
Yeah.
And since they did show that Becky and Seth are dating on TV, well, God, let's not even talk about TV, but we could see like what they do with that because they are the top two in the company right now. They could do a lot with that, like a lot with that. So you talked about Edge and Beth Phoenix interacting on Twitter. How do you feel about storylines being pushed on social media?
I feel like it will better help ratings, for one. It would better help the WWE universe feel more heard and more seen, because Roman brought up the point where, Vince and Shane and Stephanie and I think Triple H was in the ring and is like, you know what, there's no more authority. Authority is you to WWE universe. And then it's just like, well, we want these things. We tweet you, we at you, we DM you, we do everything to get your attention on social media, and it goes nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, there's been quite a few times where I would say something to you about, my predictions be spot on. And then it'll happen. I'm just like, well, they listen to our phone conversations.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
But to be on Twitter is just like, or even Instagram, even Facebook, like, it's really hard to pass it through. And I know that the WWE universe, it's millions and millions of us. Like, there's no way that it's just a group of 5 and you can't go through 5 tweets. And I'm going to be realistic. Like, it's millions and millions of us. But we just want to feel heard.
Yeah.
So I believe that pushing storylines or us tweeting what should happen should definitely play into how creative is done. So like we said before, there's no good creative at this moment. Like, Vince Russo long gone. And Vince Russo had like some of the best ideas during Attitude Era. Even though you look back at it now, like, oh, damn. But it was still good on how it played out.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I feel like time and context is everything. And I do think it's cool to see the superstars like further along their storylines with people on, like the way Becky Lynch did with Charlotte and Ronda. Like, I think that is cool for us because this is the age that we're in. So to be able to follow two superstars beefing on social media I think is really cool to see.
That's a good lead. Like, you'd be like, oh, damn. Like, you gotta get your popcorn, right?
But and yeah, exactly. Like, oh, shoot, did you... Especially when Becky and Ronda was going back and forth. Or even when, like, Nikki Bella and Ronda.
Yeah.
And they use that. And WWE is very proud of their social media following. It's something that they brag about all the time. They have, like, 1 billion followers combined through all of the different platforms and everything. So I do believe that they... care about what the fans are saying on social media, because we have seen it be successful with the hashtag Give Divas a Chance. Like, they do listen to some extent, but again, they're a huge company, and you have to please we just said there's 1 billion followers. You have to please all of those people, so I feel like it's almost impossible.
I mean, but everybody's not going to be pleased that,
yeah, exactly.
Everybody, like, I for one was happy when the Shield got back together. I've been Shield stan since the beginning of the fucking time. And I was also happy, but then I started to become tired, and don't kill me, when they kept pushing Roman. And I'm just like, okay, we get it. I love Roman. I'm a Roman stan, but can we do something else?
Yeah.
Like, he's not John Cena.
And now he's on both shows again.
Okay, like, that I'm not mad about.
Open both shows with Roman Reigns again?
I'm not mad about it because it's like they're putting him in that, I want to kind of say, Stone Cold Steve Austin feel when it comes to him versus the McMahons. Not saying that they're going to give him that Stone Cold Steve Austin push because Becky has all of that. But when it comes to, like, him fighting the McMahons, I like it because it's just like, I'm waiting for what Stephanie going to come out. My favorite thing between Roman and Stephanie was when Roman was in the ring and Stephanie was like, get out the ring. And they had that thing. And then she was like, and he was like, watch her get real mad, y'all. And he turned his back. And she's like, don't turn your back on me. Roman, get back in this ring.
I guess he got his good moments.
Yeah, he has his moments, but don't tire me with them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, once he came back, Vince was going to do everything he could to push him. But you had said something, which is a good segue into the toxic fan community on Twitter. And you said not everyone is going to be pleased. And that is probably like the tagline of this episode, because everyone is always complaining and super negative on social media about the WWE product or just wrestling in general. It's very complaining. What do you have to say about that? Because we're on
fuck up. That's what I gotta say. Just shut the hell up. Like, I get voicing your opinion about something is one thing, but when you bitch, moan, and complain and whine about every goddamn thing, it's like, why do you even have a phone? Like, go disconnect your phone. Don't pay your bill. Don't watch TV. Don't interact with nobody. Go crawl under a rock and survive. That is it.
I totally agree. And, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not always on Twitter like, oh my gosh, WWE is the best. I have voiced my frustrations with the product and everything like that, but I feel like there is a limit to it. There's a balance to it. Like, I'm not, like, I once tweeted what I always do, like, retweet if you're going to be watching Raw with us. And then someone tweeted back that's following us, said, oh, well, I guess I'm going to unfollow you now. And I'm like, why? And he was like, because Raw sucks.
Okay, bye.
Okay. Like, all right. So, like, you purposely tweeted me to tell me that. Now, I did engage him. Because then he started, like, just, like, talking shit, and I did engage him because I kind of, like, lost my patience with him because I was just like, where did that come from? Like, why are you so negative, basically? And then I went on another on my personal page, and I saw him, like, being negative to, like, someone else, and I was just like this is too much. So we did engage with each other, and I did make fun of him about one thing, which is so true, is that Twitter trolls never have their real picture on their social media.
That's true.
They never have a lot of followers, and their whole social media normally is just very negative about everything that they hate. So I'm like, am I really going to engage with someone that isn't even brave enough to put their real photo on Twitter? But what was good is that the next day I DM'd him and was just like, you know what? Because I seen how ugly it looked on our page, and I was just like, because our normally, like, 95% of our followers are like actual real people that we've engaged with that are like really cool. So I was like, you know what? I don't want this negativity on there. So I DM'd him and I was like, you know what? Our exchange was unnecessary. I apologize. And he actually was like, you know what? I apologize too. I don't know why I do that. Blah, 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 blah. Let's start over. We unblocked each other. And now like he engages with our tweets. So I guess some people just need that outlet or something, you know? I don't know exactly what it is. It's sort of just Krista just goes off on them. She doesn't even try to like reason or
I don't
anything.
Because I feel like at the end of the day, we, like I said earlier, we're here to set something positive and to have a positive outlook, because they're even in the crowd when we're at shows and the way this is bullshit, holy shit, CM Punk, this, that. Like, there's a lot of it that's really, really negative. So I know Twitter is that place where you can like voice your opinion about any and everything. But when you just sit and target a specific podcast or a specific group because of over something simple as retweet if you're going to watch Raw.
Come on.
There's the door. Use it.
Come on. And then you see more of it now that All Elite Wrestling has come out. So now it's like you have trolls coming. So now apparently you can't like more than one promotion, apparently.
Okay.
So if you like WWE, you can't like AEW, you can't like Impact, you got to just like one or the other. So now you have people coming for you. If they're an AEW fan and you're a WWE fan, they're coming for you for no reason. It just like opened up the floodgates. Then you have...
So we're going back, we're reverting back to if you liked WCW. But we did that though when we were little. Oh, you like WCW? You're whack. Go over there.
Because also like WWE was definitely a New York East Coast type of thing.
So that I understand.
So
but now that we're grown, to do it as an adult, it's just like, bruh,
grow the fuck up,
bruh.
And then you have just passionate fan base in general. Wrestling, and I said this on Duke's podcast, is like wrestling fans are very passionate because there's that emotional investment in there, because it's more than just like a competitive sport. It's not like how much people like Michael Jordan. It's like there's characters that you fall in love with. There's characters there's storylines that are meant to emotionally connect with us. Like there's a reason why we still love when The Undertaker comes out. There's a reason why.
We're going to touch on that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll definitely touch on that. There's a reason those moments of just like, you know, Charlotte Flair versus Natty and having like Bret Hart and
Beth Phoenix.
Ric Flair, yes, at the side of those moments that are so emotionally charged. And I feel like wrestling is one of those things that gives us that, and that's why people watch wrestling for 30, 40 years. So that emotional like entitlement that we have can be so strong, you know, like we've argued like, you know, about things in wrestling that's like, okay, wait, am I really like angry? Like, let me like calm down. I get that. And
that's how I want to throw hands. Yeah. Like, that's just what it is.
And I feel like that's what makes wrestling special. And that's why wrestling fans are special. And I always loved that there wasn't negativity with wrestling fans. Like me and my dad would always like revel in the fact that like you can always make a friend at a wrestling show. Everyone's there to enjoy it. It's not like, you know, going to see a Celtics game, you have like a fucking Knicks hat on and you might get like beat up. Like, no, not Mike. Them Bostonians. Yeah, right. Exactly. Will get beat up. So with wrestling, we're all there to enjoy the show, kind of thing. So it's like that positivity and like we've gone to shows together. That you talk to everyone around you. So
shout out to Section 22,
right? Yo, it was lit. But then you go on Twitter and it just it's like the complete opposite.
Yeah,
it's like. It just makes it not fun anymore, you know?
It doesn't. Speaking of Twitter, toxic wrestling, Super Showdown.
Yeah, let's touch on that really quick.
Received a lot of negative feedback, and I understand why to the extent. I understand that a lot of people are frustrated that the women have not been cleared yet. I read this earlier that they were actually in talks with the management at Saudi Arabia. They flew Alexa Bliss and Natty out, and last minute their match got removed. I did like the fact that Renee Young was there.
Yes,
he announced. I did love that she gave a female presence. But everything else, like it wasn't up to par, so to speak.
I think the whole show has a very like nasty taste in a lot of people's mouths.
Especially that main event.
Oh, yeah. Like, even I know, like, Daily DDT, Diva Dirt, and a lot of other publications, they didn't cover it because of all of the controversy that surrounds it.
And
but
mind you, they're in that contract for 10 years.
Yeah. They're making so much fucking money that it's like, y'all can complain all you want to, but they're gonna make all these dream matches for all these Saudi Arabian.
But it makes you wonder, like,
it's gonna happen.
But it makes you wonder, is this where you really care about the money or the thing you built up from the ground up?
It's about the money.
And that's what's taken away from, because, okay, we already knew that Drew McIntyre was going to get involved in Shane's match against Roman Reigns. We knew that. Mm-hmm. We knew that, and sorry to say, the hometown hero, Mosak, the one who won the 50-man Royal Rumble, we knew he was going to win because he was in his home country. Like, we knew it. Like, we knew that Finn Balor, the Demon, is going to win because the Demon is undefeated. It's like a lot of these things were very, very predictable. Yep. We knew that Seth Rollins was going to beat Baron Corbin. Mm-hmm. We knew that Baron Corbin was going to have a temper tantrum. We knew that Brock Lesnar was going to come. What I didn't know was that he was not going to be able to cash in.
Yeah, that was
the only part I was like, oh, okay. We knew that Kofi was going to beat Dolph. Like, Dolph plays this whole nobody cares about me. Look at me, me.
I like
Of course you would. But the thing that really was hard to watch was Goldberg Undertaker. As much as I is like
right now.
It's like you have these two legends that were on these two platforms in the 90s. You had the Undertaker in WWF/E, and then you had Goldberg and Nitro, who had a 173 or 74 undefeated streak. Undertaker had an undefeated streak until about WrestleMania, 31? So from there, it was just like, okay, you're going to bring these two big powerhouses together. But at the same time, we've been seeing Undertaker wrestle.
And it has not been fun to watch.
Yeah. No, Like, we've been seeing Undertaker wrestle when he got to his older age before the hip surgery. The match that it was very uncomfortable for me to watch was Roman and Undertaker. Even that build.
That was really hard.
That was so uncomfortable.
I think he should have retired as far as in-ring.
Oh, but get this. When I was reading the article I was reading earlier today, some guy had made a comment on the fact saying that, we should just allow Undertaker to retire because we have these two legends in the ring and the match did not go well, and you should have them retire in peace because if they just keep going, they're going to really hurt themselves.
Yeah, it gets to a point. That's why it's so hard to watch.
But Undertaker liked the comment.
I know.
So now retirement may be in the works for him.
But see, what happens is, in my theory, is that with this big money deal, they're gonna want these dream matches, and they're gonna fucking write whatever check to get these matches. So it's gonna be hard for, like, even Shawn Michaels said, like, he kind of insinuated he did that match for the money. Like, these Saudi Arabians, they don't get wrestling.
They don't.
Wilkins from Jobberteers podcast was like, us as Americans and New Yorkers need to really appreciate how spoiled we are as far as, like, live wrestling. So with them, they have a blank checkbook and they want to see Goldberg versus Undertaker. They're gonna be like, yo, Vince, here's $10 million, give it to the Undertaker and make it happen. So I feel like it's gonna be this is not the end of these horrible, cringe legend matches. I'm telling you.
And it's bad. Like, the day they try to bring back Mick Foley to fight, I'm done.
His body's literally gonna break in the ring.
I don't think he's going to. I think Mick is just like, yeah, no, I'm
not.
But it was bad. I noticed the fuck ups as soon as, like, Goldberg started to bleed.
Oh God! And you can see him getting knocked out and like he's dead on his feet, and I'm like, that is definitely
I noticed the first fuck up was when he got punched, and when Undertaker got punched and he kind of like hit the rope, and it took him that long to get up, and I'm just like, oh my
mind you, this is Goldberg, right? Mind you, that literally can't even like stand up.
Undertaker couldn't stand either.
See one part where Undertaker's like his knees, he's like, I'm like, oh God, this is so bad.
It's like, I feel like if you knew that you were gonna be fighting, or even so, like, still get your cardio and stuff up. Like, you're an athlete at the end of the day. Like, even if you're not fighting, you're an athlete. So it's like you still have to, and you're getting older. So if you're going to exercise, continue the exercise routine that you were doing. Continue, your healthy arrangements that you were doing, because you may never know when you're going to get called and be like, oh, I need you to come here to do this. Like, that match was so bad to watch.
Yeah, it
and
really
Vince
was.
can't be mad at nobody else but himself.
No. And just to bring it back to Twitter, Goldberg tweeted a couple hours later that he knocked himself out and he powered through the match, and he probably shouldn't have, I'm paraphrasing, that he shouldn't have, and he let his fans down. And for those that took pleasure in it, because I'm sure you saw Matt Riddle's video and everything. So Twitter has been good instrument for wrestlers to talk to their fans and keep it real with them, set the record straight. You know, like we have this whole, so my dad just got a smartphone, so things pop up on his phone about wrestlers that are like, he'll be like, is this true? And I gotta say, like, there's a gossip rag type vibe to wrestling, just like Hollywood. Like, it's like people take a sentence of a podcast and then like turn it into like clickbait. So then you have people thinking the worst. And I think one of the worst examples of that is like Sasha Banks. There's this whole narrative out there about Sasha Banks and her relationship to WWE that Sasha Banks was never a part of. Like, we created that whole spin on it. So, like, I don't know. I think I'm like back in, like, I'm like here when it comes to like Twitter and its relationship to wrestling, because I feel like with the 24/7 title, I feel like that was made for social media, because
that is
I can check my Twitter at 1 a.m. and be like, oh shit, R-Truth was pinned on a plane. Like, I feel like that's one, I do think it was like a desperate ratings thing, but I do think it's fun for like social media, because you have R-Truth being funny and it creates content for them.
Yeah, I mean, I was hyped when I heard Mick Foley was coming back to present a new belt. And I told you, I said, oh my God, what if it's the hardcore title belt? Because, you know, Mick Foley was the first ever hardcore champion. I mean, and
well deserved.
Right, well deserved, because he's a hardcore legend. And fight me if you think wrong. But then he says, oh, it's a 24-hour title match, championship title. And it's just like, just say it's a hardcore match. Like, that's exactly what it was. The hardcore, and then you still, but the whole them chasing, and then Carmella is trying to be like the distraction or the getaway. Is like, okay, put Carmella in the match.
I am enjoying it though. I'm
enjoying it. It's funny, but I was like, okay, so Carmella's gonna be,
and where's the women
on the side?
Why aren't women competing? I think that would add such a fun vibe.
Naomi's been tweeting to try to meet her with R-Truth.
A lot of people
for
have,
the longest.
Like, why aren't they included? Like, it just frustrating. Like, why women would not be included in this? Like, imagine Carmella turned on Truth and pinned him one day.
I'm thinking
Can we have that happen, please?
We need to have that
when
happen.
People turn on each other.
Yeah, I think that I thought that not Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre was going to turn on Shane last night. Like, when he was on his shoulders and drop him, but he probably would have killed him.
Oh, yeah. That's another one that I can definitely be okay with not seeing on my TV as much.
Drew McIntyre or
Shane McMahon.
Oh, yeah. At first, we loved it.
I do love Shane so much, but now it's just too much. Like, I don't need a 20 minutes of Shane on my TV, like, every 2 days a week. Like, it's too much. So just to conclude things, the reason why I wanted to do this episode was not only to complain about wrestling Twitter and all that kind of stuff, but just kind of encourage our readers. I'm sorry, not readers.
Ooh, girl, you've been writing so much.
I'm about to say I write.
You've been writing so much.
Our listeners and our viewers and our supporters to try to project positivity on social media when it comes to being a wrestling fan. Don't feed into the negativity. Don't make wrestling not fun. If you see someone being a troll, block them, keep it moving. If someone doesn't agree with your opinion, don't let it escalate to the point where, like, we've seen it even with people we know, like, where they disagree about something or misunderstand each other on Twitter and then it escalates. Try to, like...
We did it on the show.
Yeah.
On the show, we did it. We get how passionate you guys are. We get, you know, it's like wrestling is life for us. We get how it brings us all together. We get all of that. But don't let it affect you in a way to where you go and there's no turning back.
Yeah. Like, we're all fans. We're all not going to disagree on everything. We're all going to have our favorites. You can like more than one fucking wrestling promotion. You can like whoever you want to like. Just be nice to people. Yeah. And again, we've engaged. We're guilty of it too. We're going to try. You don't like Raw? Don't fucking watch Raw. we don't need to. I don't need to read tweets for the 3 hours of Raw on Twitter saying how much you hate Raw.
Right, like find a channel. This Monday night, go watch Ratchet TV. But I bet you they're watching it though.
I bet you they're watching it though, as they're tweeting how horrible it is, because then they also specifically complain about stuff, and I'm like, I thought you wasn't watching it though. So yeah, so let's just try to not perpetuate negativity on social media in general. How about that?
I agree. And on that note, this episode is over. Let us know what you think about toxic wrestling Twitter.
Yes, if you have any experiences that you've encountered, we'd love to hear them. We might do another episode on this because you can talk about this.
And we might read your tweets.
Yeah.
We might read your tweets. So on that note, I'm Krista B.
It's Queen PR. Thank you for listening. Make sure you subscribe to Those Wrestling Girls on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, T Wrestling Girls, and our IG, Those Wrestling Girls. And Krista on IG on Twitter is Krista D Bryant. And I'm Queen 3_PR. So follow us.
We're out.